What up, y'all? And I'm back again with the day 4 reaction. I told you I'll be back. 3:15 in the morning. I'll be out of here for work in another 2 hours. But, kind of woke up with a little burst of energy this morning after sinus pressure headache. So, figure why not knock it out now? It's where I'll be all caught up. And, we can kind of stay afloat of what's going on. So, in day 4, we had this young lady named Zell, who's also known as Jane Doe. She's not giving her real name out because she doesn't want to lose her anonymity and privacy. And to be honest, I'm not okay with that. If his business has to be out on Front Street, you need to have the courage, because you're stepping forward, to put your business out on Front Street. If not, to me, then don't jump up here. But for me, it's not okay to kind of, his private life and personal life is to be invaded, but yours can't. Okay, so we go with Zell was 17 and an aspiring singer when she first encountered R.Kelly, and she hoped that the R&B star could help jumpstart her professional career. So again, another young lady who could give consent. And see, that's my biggest issue with all of this is either he raped these girls with statutory rape or was domestic abuse. But just this whole case at this point, this whole racketeering case it's a witch hunt at this point. Now, for me reading about this is probably the most credible witness the prosecution has put on here right now. But again, I don't know what this does to help what they're doing in terms of a racketeering case. So within the next 2 years, she said, Mr. Kelly physically abused her, and after learning she had become pregnant, he urged and badgered her to get an abortion. He said, you need to look into that abortion stuff because you need to keep that body, said the woman, who testified under a pseudonym as the second week of Mr. Kelly's criminal trial began in Brooklyn. The singer told her he would be ready to start a family after he got rid of the rest of the girls he spent time with, he said. She said, still Zell did not want to lose the child. And I understand why she didn't want to lose the child. Child support. And it's a way, again, it's a conversation people don't want to have, but a lot of women go this route with celebrity men. They're looking for some type of financial security, a way not to have to get up and really go to work. And it's why I've said on my podcast in previous episodes, a lot of times a child is a means to an end for a lot of these women. There's really no love there. And it hurts for a lot of our black men to hear that to be said. But when you really analyze the relationship between mother and child, there's really no love there. She views her son, she views her children really as just a means to an end. Her son is kind of the makeshift husband, and he serves in that purpose of what she wanted a man to be in her life, be it father, boyfriend, or whatever. But that's another episode. The singer told her, okay, we did that already. Let's get it. In text messages that were shown to the jurors, Mr. Kelly told Zell that she was hard-headed, needed to grow up, and should have been grateful that she had someone to make the decisions for her. Now, again, What does that mean that she was hard headed? Okay, you show that he says she was hard headed, needed to grow up. I'm still not understanding what a racketeering charge is. What does this have to do with racketeering charges? Now, she's a credible witness, like I stated already. I just don't know what this has to do with any racketeering. Because what they're trying to do is bring this whole thing of he abused and controlled women. If these women weren't underage, they willingly went in to have sex with him. And again, you just have to wear that. I'm going to keep stating, should you have gotten them for marrying Aaliyah when she was underage? You sure should have. Should you have gotten them for child pornography on that tape with that young lady when she was 15? You sure should have. Unfortunately, you didn't. And now we have a witch hunt going on to satisfy the Me Too movement and to put him in jail. As she recounted the story, Zell, who is now 23 and who was into actions, and see, that's another thing. That's 6 years ago then. She's 23 now. So we talking 2015. That woman, this little girl knew about everything at that point. And you still went into that situation because, again, what did I tell you? Everybody wanted to be in his presence as long as they could get something out of him. In the second they could no longer get something out of him, then they got rid of the relationship. But she's now 23 and whose interactions with Mr. Kelly lasted for 5 years in total. She became the second accuser to take the stand against the singer at his trial. She previously defended the singer publicly as recently as 2019. So again, what changed from then to now? Even his claims against him mounted, but later made her own accusations of sexual and physical abuse. And again, that's kind of why I would tell you that's probably the one thing when you look through and you say, she would lose her credibility, I guess. Even though I guess I shouldn't say she's the most credible witness, but she gives you more insight into what actually was going on in the house. Because Geronda Pace was just, it was iffy what she was talking about. At least with Zell, she kind of goes in depth into what's going on. But again, even with Zell, she lied already. She defended him in 2019, and then in 2021, she's stating what? Now she's flipped the story. So again, while they're saying it's racketeering charges against R.Kelly and him paying people to run this ring, should we be looking into racketeering charges for the Me Too movement? Are they paying women to flip and to change testimonies and change statements and testify on their behalf and to put these men in jail? Because the same thing happened in the Bill Cosby case. Well, all of a sudden you just started seeing women coming out left and right. And then as things died down and things went to trial and the trial was over, then you started having women saying, yeah, I exaggerated a little bit. Yeah, I just wanted a little attention, but it don't matter. The damage is done. He's in jail. The apology doesn't hold any weight at this point. She testified under a pseudonym because of privacy concerns, and she is identified as Jane Doe number 5 in court documents. Several of the artist's accusers are expected to testify against him during the month-long trial, long anticipated since his sexual conduct during the height of the Me Too movement. And again, like I said, it just so happened when the Me Too movement came, all of these things were rehashed. He was living his best life, had skated free, and was done. And it was like the Me Too movement came about, and then all of a sudden, you had a bunch of women starting to scream, I was abused. And I told you that was my biggest problem with any of this is you didn't really hear women say R. Kelly abused him. Now you heard people say, yo, he liked them high school girls and college girls. But you never heard women saying, yo, R. Kelly beating the hell out of women. So for me, it's kind of hard for me to believe all these women were dealing with him for 27 years. And we have never really heard of him beating on women. At some point, that would have come out. We knew that about Dr. Dre already. We knew it about Suge Knight already. We heard about Jay-Z smacking a woman already. So see, for me, those things are already out there. That's information that's usually out there if you beat women. Mr. Kelly is not charged with felony sex crimes related directly to his accusers. And again, that's what I'm saying. If this is all about sex and abusing and underage sex with girls and all those things, that should be what he was charged with, not racketeering. Rather, he faces a broad racketeering case that portrays him as a kingpin of a decades-long operation to recruit women and underage girls for sex by capitalizing on the singer's fame. I'm going to be honest with you. If this is what we're doing and they find him guilty of this, you don't have to put a lot of famous celebrities, men and women, in jail for them being the king and the queen pin of recruiting men and women and underage girls and boys for sex by capitalizing on their fame. I mean, that's just the way that goes. Mr. Kelly has pleaded not guilty to all 9 counts against him, which also include violations of an anti-sex trafficking law known as the Mann Act. If convicted, he could spend life in prison. Now again, the sex trafficking, the Mann Act is quite interesting. And I don't see them getting him on a sex trafficking violation because, again, none of these women are saying they was forced to have sex with him. They're just stating, basically, he abused me. He wasn't selling these girls off or doing things like that. Their thing was, yo, he had us in different rooms. We went willingly to have sex with him, but things went awry. During the first portion of her testimony, Zell took jurors through her time with the singer. He sought to control the minutiae of her life, she said, and infected her with herpes. She will continue her testimony, including under cross-examination by Mr. Kelly's lawyers on Tuesday, and again, infected her with herpes. To this day, R. Kelly has not been diagnosed with having herpes. So for me, I would think that would be the first thing that would need to happen is he should eventually be forced to test for herpes and see if he tests positive for it. Because his doctor stated already, even though he was treating him for 12 years, he never tested positive for herpes, which again is very interesting. That you would be treating somebody and they never tested positive for that. But Zell first received Mr. Kelly's phone number at a music festival in April 2015. She said and was told she could audition for him. Both Zell and her family were hopeful that the professional connection could be an opportunity to start her career as a singer, she said. At the time, she was doing paid gigs, performing in school choirs, and taking performing art classes. So now, basically, I'm going to just be blunt and say it. And it's what you found out watching Surviving R. Kelly that a lot of these women were doing was, I'm going to use him and satisfy him sexually to get what I need to get out of this relationship. They were using him way more than he was using them. Their thing was he was a means to an end. He was the casting couch. I'm going to sleep with him to get this part. I want to be a singer, so I want to sleep with him to get my foot in the door so I can perform and be on this stage. And then what they'll try and do now is retroactively redo the relationship and come and tell you, no, I just wanted a relationship with him. Or I thought we was in love with each other. But it's for them not to come off as basically users and women prostituting their body or exchanging sex for goods at this point, which is all it really is. I'm going to have sex with you and perform all the sexual acts you need me to perform so that you can get me to where I want to get to in my singing career. But we don't want to have that conversation because, again, we live in a society where you don't have to hold women accountable for their actions. They can just play the damsel in distress. From the beginning, Mr. Kelly was more interested in sex than music, said Zell, who initially told Mr. Kelly that she was 18. So again, like I told you yesterday, we have a lot of people telling him they're older than what they are. And then they come behind them after they initially say that they're 18 or 19, and then they come from behind and then say, yo, I'm really not 18. And see, again, we need to get to a point in society with the laws where we do what? Stop holding men accountable when these young ladies lie about their age. You can't keep holding men accountable for what they're doing. And then it's, well, you should know better. I can't know nothing if I'm in the dark about it. The two had sexual intercourse shortly after the meeting, she said, and she eventually began to view herself as a girlfriend of the singer. See what I told you? This is how they'll retroactively tell the story. Now, again, she was just here to be a singer. But what? We had sex very shortly after the meeting, sealing the deal. I'm going to have sex with you to make sure I can get my foot in the door and we can keep this relationship moving. And I think, to be honest with you, a lot of these girls did this to continue to blackmail them because they'll think, well, she was 17, so she couldn't even really use this. She couldn't consent anyway. So let me not even say that for her. But again, if the two are having sexual intercourse shortly after a meeting, then just call a relationship what it is. We had a sexual relationship and I wanted more from it. I thought I could become a singer because I'm not sure he promised to make these women anything. May give them a look. And if we being honest, he hadn't made any good music from maybe 2015 up into 2018. It wasn't like he was still pumping out hits. He was starting to die off himself. So, I think a lot of these women are there for the fame and the celebrity and to say I slept with a superstar or celebrity and hoping that they'll get a look. But again, like I said, here's another one. She viewed herself as a girlfriend of the singer. So if you viewed yourself as a girlfriend, then we next have to ask the question, what are we talking a sex racketeering? Well, not even sex, a racketeering scheme. If these women are viewing themselves as his girlfriend, then nobody's being forced to do anything. These women thought they were having serious relationships with him, which is why, again, I told you the whole trial is a sham. It's a sham, and they're making a mockery of the justice system, a sham mockery. Once the summer of 2015 arrived, Zell, who was in high school, said she began to split time between the singer's hometown, Chicago, and his residences in Atlanta. As her senior year neared, she said she told him that she needed to return to school and revealed that she was 17. But she said the singer laughed in my face, slapped her with an open hand, and walked away. If I was him, I would have been heated too. I wouldn't have smacked her, but why lie? You understand the scrutiny he's under. Why would you even put him in that situation? But again, like I told you, he has no one to blame but himself. Because at this point, you just shouldn't be dealing. You shouldn't be dealing with women who not 21 years and older. You understand what's on your jacket already out here in society in terms of marrying Aaliyah when she was underage and having sex with that girl on that tape, that underage girl on the tape. You understand that already. So since you understand that, you should have yourself in a space where I'm not dealing with anybody under 21. So we can avoid all scrutiny. And even if you have these fetishes that you have where you need someone to look like a young lady, then you need to find 21, 22, 23 year olds who look like they still 16 or 17 to fit the fetishes that you have. Later, she said Mr. Kelly told her that she would receive homeschooling to continue living with him in Chicago. So now again, you have to ask, where's her parents at? And it's another set of parents who prostituted their child and pimped their child off to R.Kelly. And it's why I keep telling you when we go into these conversations and people keep talking about systematic racism and police brutality and poverty and chattel slavery and all these things, man, African American culture's biggest problems lie right within the four walls of that home. Always has and always will be. But again, this is why I'm going to start, well, not going to, I'm going to continue to keep doing what I'm doing and just bringing it to your face to show you your parents have failed you and they don't really love you. But that's a hard pill to have to swallow, to look in the mirror and say, yo, my mother and father really don't love me. And it'll be, man, she worked 4 jobs. She did this, she did that. No, that don't mean that someone loves you. That just means someone is doing something to take care of you financially. To love you would be to care about your well-being. To love you would be what? To make sure you was never born into some of these situations to begin with. Throughout her time with Mr. Kelly, Zell said she was required to abide by a strict set of rules. And this is why I said she's been the most, I shouldn't have said credible, I should have said most insightful witness that they have so far. Because I don't think she's probably, I ain't no thing. She's not too credible either. She's another one who's lied on more than one occasion. But to me, she was at least able to give you some insight into what the rules were in the house that all these girls talk about. When broke, she was required to abide by a strict set of rules, which, when broken, led to physical punishment and other harsh penalties. The language she used when recalling them mirrored the descriptions of the restrictions that Ms. Pace, the singer's first accuser to take the stand, gave in her testimony last week. Zell read several of the rules to jurors, testifying that she began writing them down around age 17. She was to stay beautiful and innocent. And again, what I'm getting ready to tell you is what I told you from the beginning. And it goes back to the covert incest conversation we had, what was it, 5 episodes ago. She was to stay beautiful and innocent to remind Mr. Kelly of his mother and his child. You have a lot of men who want to have sex with their mothers. A lot of men fantasize about it. But because they can't make that happen, again, what they'll do is they'll say, I'm into older women and try and find somebody their mother's age, or what they'll do is just find they want a wife who they can just have sex with. That's it. Their mother serves the role already of wife. So now they're just looking for a woman who wants to lay down and have sex with them. That's it. That's the type of wife they're looking for. They're not looking for a companion or a partner. They're looking for someone to bear kids and to just lay there and have sex. They don't need any input into that relationship because the mother feels that role for them already. But I told you, he stated already how he worshiped his mother. She needed to trust Mr. Kelly's direction without pushback, noting anything Daddy says is to help me. And she was to offer him positive quotes and affirmations to lift him up. Now, can I see R. Kelly saying all these things? Yes, I can. And that's why I was saying for me, she's been the most insightful. Because people, they keep all these young ladies keep talking about these rules, but you never really hear them go into detail about what the rules are. When she broke those rules, Zell said she would be chastised. The singer's term for the harsh spankings he would dole out. Mr. Kelly often forced her to remove her undergarments, would leave bruises and sometimes make her skin tear, she told jurors. Physical abuse occurred nearly every 2 to 3 days, she said, as her voice broke with emotion. So again, you got a man out here who's verbally abusive, physically abusive, and our parents are nowhere to be found. And see, again, this is when I say, when these women keep growing up saying, I'm the mother, I'm the father, I don't need no man, and all this. This is what happened to these girls who don't have that figure around. And see, it don't have to be a father, to be honest with you, but she needs some type of male role model for guidance. Somebody she can call on when things get tough to come step in and say, hey, yo, he running game on you. Let me tell you what this is. Now, if you want to continue down this road with him, that's fine also. But let me show you exactly what he's doing and why he's doing it. Because you have to believe a positive male role model would have told him he's not interested in making you a singer. All he wants to do is have sex with you. That's it. That's the only purpose that you serve for him. There's nothing else you can really give him. In one instance, Mr. Kelly was particularly upset after she texted her best friend and discussed her interactions with the singer. He beat Zell across her body, she told jurors. Then he retrieved a size 12 Nike sneaker to use from his closet. Psh, man, he put over. That's the meaning of putting over his knee. He continued to hit me until I finally broke, testified Zell, who said she was about 4'11" and 98 pounds at the time. Shoo, that was a twig. Well, I don't know what to say about you, Kels, with that one. If she was 4'11", 98 pounds, that's the size of somebody 11, 12 years old, my man. I don't even know what the attraction would have been. But again, I don't know what she looked like at that time. And she could be 4'11" and 140 now and just trying to make herself look like she was that small to make the perception of she looked like a baby. So I'm going to take this with a grain of salt because, again, she's testifying as a Jane Doe and we can't see what she looked like and we don't know who this is talking. So if I'm in the jury, I wouldn't even take that I was about 98 pounds at the time even serious. She added I was trying to run from him and fight back, but I was no match. She also recalled being diagnosed with herpes at 17. So again, diagnosed with herpes, you knew you got it from him, yet you stayed with him. And you was diagnosed with him. At this point, you would think her parents would have took control of this, but they didn't. And again, this is the one thing this whole trial is going to highlight, is how the black mother was not here to protect her daughter. And I'm going to keep telling you, they keep screaming, protect black women. But who's protecting the children of these black women? One day we'll get an answer to that. She testified that she told Mr. Kelly about the discomfort she felt while having sex, but that he laughed it off. Eventually, she told jurors it got to the point I couldn't physically even walk. During the first week of the trial, again, this is where they talk about his doctor testified that he began treating him for herpes in 2007, at least 8 years before he met Ms. Zell, and nobody, and to notify all his sexual partners that he had it. Now, again, the man never tested positive for herpes, so even if you told somebody that, I don't know. Like I said, this whole case is weird when you look at the information that the prosecution is putting out here. But Mr. Kelly did not show concern when Zell discussed her diagnosis and treatment, she said. He was agitated and told me I could have gotten it from anyone, Zell said. I told him I had only been intimate with him. And again, you know I'm not buying she was a virgin when she met him either. But again, this is what a lot of these ladies will do because how can you verify whether she was or not? So you have to take these young ladies at their word that at 17 years old, I decided to let R. Kelly take my virginity. And again, he told her, you could have gotten that from anybody. But she still continued to sleep with him. As her sexual encounters with Mr. Kelly continued, so did additional outbreaks, she said. In one instance, while she was in pain during sex, Mr. Kelly called her broken. It represented a significant departure from the first time that Zell said she interacted with Mr. Kelly. And at a music festival in 2015, when he appeared to direct extra attention toward her, and one of the singer's associates gave his phone number to her. And again, ladies, in the beginning, every man is going to tell you that you're beautiful. They love you. Nobody else makes them feel the way you make them feel. Yada, yada, yada. All of those things. But we have to come to the realization that it's just game. You won't know if a man truly loves you for years on into a relationship. You'll be able to see, are we friends at that point? That's when you'll be able to see, does a man or woman truly love you? When the mask come off. I keep telling you guys, in anyone's initial meet in a relationship, the meet and greet, you're gonna see everybody's representative. Nobody gonna be a thou wow with you when you first meet them. They're just not gonna keep it a bean with you. And is why I also advise people, you never tell somebody what you're looking for out of a mate. Because it makes it easy to shape shift into that. Okay, R. Kelly can say, I'm looking for this out of these young ladies. So now what do those girls do who want to be in his presence? Sure, I'll be that for you. But it's not who they naturally are. So at some point, the rubber gonna meet the road. At some point, they won't be able to continue to act that way. It's going to become a burden for them not to be who they naturally are. And once they become who they naturally are, he's no longer attractive. But in the beginning, once you're meeting somebody with both people having, it's a blank canvas, it's a clean slate. There's no emotional baggage on either side. So there's a shitload of attraction because you don't know this person. As you get to know somebody, the attraction or all of those things, it'll either wane or it's going to grow. She later met Mr. Kelly at his hotel where he said she could audition for him. But Zell said that the entertainer told her that he needed to relieve himself sexually before he could listen to her sing. I was against it, I told him. I did not come to please him, she said. He continued to persist and told me I didn't have to do anything, just take off my clothes. As Mr. Kelly's pressure continued, Zell, who had told him that she was 18, said that she acquiesced and allowed the entertainer to perform a sex act on her. He told her that if she agreed, He would allow her to audition and would take care of me for life, she testified. So, again, you have somebody who was saying, I didn't want to do these things. I didn't want to do these things. I didn't want to do these things. But he kept pressuring me. So I just did it. She told him I did not come to please him. What did she really think she was there for? And to be honest, if he wasn't there for sex, she would have just got up and left. But see, this is how a woman can kind of frame this argument and flip it on its head. I felt pressured, and I really wanted my dream more than life itself, and all I had to do was sleep with him. Plus, I felt pressured, and I didn't know what he might do to me physically, so I didn't feel like I had a choice. So again, the woman is held without what? Accountability and responsibility for our actions, and it'll just be left at the feet of R.Kelly. He'll be the monster. She won't be the one who manipulated the situation. She's also going to be able to now what? Go back and retell you her side of the story. But see, for me, like I said, all of these things could be true, but once you lie about your age, to me, that does deem you to be a liar. Because everything else she's saying, it can't be proven one way or the other. It's going to now be her word against his word. Now, she can prove she has herpes. He would have to test positive for herpes, but if he goes and tests for herpes and he doesn't have it, then you have a whole nother conversation. But if we just being honest and being real, of course he probably has herpes. You have 3 women saying, they slept with him and they got herpes from him. My thing with the doctor was how you treating somebody for a disease that they haven't tested positive for. I didn't necessarily care for that, she told jurors. I just wanted to sing. And that was the end of her testimony on Monday. Now, if she just wanted to sing the second he would have made the offer, would have been what? That'd have been her cue to say, you know what, this is not what I'm here for. I thought this was something else. I'm leaving. But of course, now it's also I'm 17 years old. But of course, he doesn't know that because you told me he was 18 years old. So now we also get to retroactively go back and say that you have to understand I'm a minor. And I'm feeling the pressure because I'm not of age. But he wouldn't know that because you told him you were of age. So again, she's supposed to continue her testimony on Tuesday. We'll see how that plays out. But again, I think this whole case, to be honest with you, from the first 4 days, unless things drastically turn around for the prosecution, this is appearing to be nothing but a witch hunt in a way to acquiesce to the Me Too movement. It's your boy, the Hood Nerd. I'm out.